refresh it.
We're on. Hello, welcome. Thank you for joining this Saturday, the 25th of July. This is Iron Kev. You want to say hello?
Hello.
Hello, brother.
Hi everybody, how you doing? Hope you're alright. All good here. Trotting along. At a rate of knots.
Just loading up now so I can get into the. I can't see where the video is. It's.
I can stop. I haven't got it on my tablet at the moment.
No. Here we go.
Oh.
So on, refresh it. We're there. We're in ship shape to man shape. Over Saturday night, Sunday morning. Are you ready, Kev?
Oh, there it is. Now it's there. In we go. Into the harbour of happiness.
Captain Happy.
Right. Press all the buttons then. Oh, there they are. Right. Let's have a go again. Let's go back in live chat. Right. We're in. Hello, Wendy. How are you? I don't know how good my tablet's going to be tonight with refreshing. It was a nightmare last week.
Shut up with your excuses. Sick of your excuses.
I know, terrible. Must try harder. Must get better excuses.
I'm just posting into FB, SPL's SB, that we are chirping. Just so if there's anybody about in the realm of, they can come and join us. They can join us. Is Wendy in?
Yeah, Wendy's in and Albert's in. Hello, Albert. Hope you're all right, mate.
What?
Nice to see you and Albert. And all that malarkey. Yeah, everything's good here, thanks. Wendy. Struggling on. Fighting the fight. Pushing ahead. You know it is.
I'll turn you up just in case you might be a bit low. There we go. Yeah.
Fair enough, thank you. You get enough of the limelight and keep me quiet.
Thank you. Yes, if you'd like to introduce yourself and your good news or your anniversary you've just celebrated, we have wished you belated wishes for your recent anniversary, haven't we, Kev? Kelvin?
Yes, it was my birthday yesterday. It was a normal day, very subdued, pleasant. Going to go out next week. And yes, very pleasant day. Mostly spent sifting through music and purchasing and yeah, so nothing wild. I need a bit of a build up to it, so I'm going out next week. A week's warning to myself.
Alright, nice one, thank you for that. I'm just saying hello to the room.
Yeah, thanks to everybody. I got loads of messages on that yesterday. It was really nice. Still getting some today actually as well, so really appreciated that. From, friends and fam, including the fam here. So, it's all good. What room seems to be keeping up well tonight? Chico! Who else is in? If I miss somebody. No, that's it. It's all cool. How are you? Hope you're alright. Nice to see you. I won't do the rest of it. I just did it a minute ago.
There are no topics or direction for tonight. We just want to encapsulate the family on a Saturday night, Sunday morning, as we bridge the twilight period between the days themselves. So I've got some little bits and bobs. I did mention the secret banker and somebody else from the establishments, along with the various lords and outspoken ambassadors of truth and well, I don't want to say justice, but what is right gets done. And when I say this, there's campaigns for, or action from, not a campaign. The secret barrister who's been in the realm for 10 years, just practicing in London, witnessing civil and criminal cases, procedure being carried out, and he's voiced opinions and made short films and publications about his words, injustices seen within the system. So it's nice to hear. It's not nice to hear because we're all aware of issues and fallacies and preconceptions, assumptions, presumptions. What's that word that they use? Plausible deniability and etc. within our areas of research and cognizance and your scholarly initiate ways of your self-governing and representing how you do business with your persons. And this 10 years barrister of London has pointed out about mobile phones. If you was to allege you'd been raped and you was to raise a case and file, and ask for the Crown to investigate, the rank and file officers take phones and look through messages, and they insinuate that if they can find messages or interaction on a woman's phone that's claiming rape to do with sexual contact of or sexual activity with three or more men or something, or partners, not necessarily men in fact, then they would say that there was mitigating circumstances. He goes on to say that one in 70 cases of rape is generally solved, which equates to 3%. We've covered about offspring and homeless children not being investigated if they go missing, and he covers quite a thing. He's changed some movement in the law. Police met rank and file data, GDPR, and all of this acquisition has been moved from the victim, the rape victim, to the claimant, and saying, there are certain cases in which you would want to get data from phones because they can help the investigation, which is all very well and good. But when that data is used against the one that is the victim, then that's when there is a problem. So last week, I'm happy to say that there appears to have been a turnaround with data and the way that mobile phones are now download data from the Met, or the Police Rank and File Federation of Officers UK, will now change the way they handle rape allegations, investigations, charges, and the general data of the phone. As you're all becoming fast aware, data is like gold in this digital age. So we're seeing that it's horrible enough, and I say this with deepest respect and sympathy. We do, Kevin and I, this channel, to have gone through an ordeal such as forced rape. It can happen to any of the sexes, but it generally happens to the female, and done by in the most horrific ways, generally confrontational, violent, and left them scarred for life. So if you have been affected by this, I say this with respect, and I don't want to bring up anything to anybody, but this man's allegedly done work there, and he's been included on Channel 4's news, echoing what we're echoing with regards to rights, processes, rules, law. He even echoed the fact that to become in a case of law, there was a boy charged with rape. He had consensual sex. He was a boy like from Oxford or Cambridge, and he was being interviewed saying yes, it was a jolly good time had by all. And then the next morning he had officers at the door, and the lady had said that she was going to claim rape, but the police got hold of the lady's phone and downloaded some data. And in that data, they found that she was working out what paper to sell the story to, because she'd set this boy up. So if they didn't get that data, that boy might have gone down for a very long time for rape for something he didn't do. So there are arguments to say that data does need to be managed. But when you say anything, can they take it down and use it as evidence against you when you are the rape victim? That's not cricket, you see. So policies there getting changed for the periods of how they investigate is kudos to that secret barrister. you know, and the fact he brought out that justice in a court is unreachable for most, and it's too delayed. It doesn't agree with, you know, many things there, and I just thought it echoes something that we have, you know, started to notice ourselves. Yes.
Yes.
Serious issues, you know, that need to be. It's an archaic system, and
Well,
he points that out. It's hundreds of years
it's
old. It needs reforming urgently.
at least it's, you know, it's somebody in the right place starting to point it out. Well, wonder how long he'll last.
I do worry for him. Yeah, you'll find him on
Yeah,
Twitter. I'll get the links in later on, but you'll find a secret barrister on Twitter
and just
easily.
funny.
Yeah.
Can I just make a quick comment? Wendy's put in a lovely comment. Says she loves the way we all talk and spell. So you've got two ends of the country here almost as well. David's quite well Midlands north from me, and I'm down south. So then you've got two accents as well. Wendy, what a bonus for you.
Yeah, I'm mixed up, not even continental, if you like, with the Yorkshire, Sheffield, it was rugby, Warwickshire area initially, then up to north, and then down into the Midlands, and it's mixed up. But Kev's a Cockney geezer. He's a geezer. He's a real crowd pleaser, Wendy. So thank you, our sister. I don't know what to say other than moving on. I want to bring to you that apart from the secret banker and the controversy that surrounds all that, the BBC World News Service the other day announced that the QAnon movement, you know, that movement that Trump's tweeted 200 different accounts of about, is to be classed soon, possibly as a national security risk to the United States of America. I went, what was that you just said there, lady? Anybody that believes in the Q movement or gives it credence is going to be. It poses. The words were, when I explained it to Kev, by the broadcaster for the BBC World News Service, yes, it goes across many continents, that it poses a threat to national security. And Kev found that hilarious because he saw the other side, didn't you? Which was nice. It does actually pose a threat if it is actually bang on real, kudos, kosher. But if it isn't, why have you got the president of America joining in with it? It's incredible. So the part I found
Yeah,
hilarious amongst all of this, while COVID and world politics and affairs are going off, is that the national security agencies are now going to start classifying followers and ones in the movement of it as a security risk. What does that tell you then? Is that there's some kind of setup to come and I don't know, but be wary is all I'll say. I'll yield.
in what in what way? They're not exactly running around with guns, are they? Smashing places up. It's it doesn't make. I mean, they're just asking for it to escalate, aren't they? Really.
It's a
Right,
very
if there's nothing wrong with it, if it's harmless, I mean, and it is hard, as I say, it's not like they're committing terrorism or anything. This group of Q fans, QAnon, whatever, you know, and the president's involved too. We've got to arrest him, shut on his page, maybe, but it's mental.
yeah.
It's going to cause more harm by shutting it down. It's going to cause. Just let it go. It's what it is. PSYOP.
Just a heads up, yeah, it's a heads up. When I see the BBC or hear and see the BBC World News Service of the, you know, I was watching it on Mobdro. It's an app that looks for you know, free channels and stuff, and world news. I thought, let's just see what I wanted to see, the difference in the normal channel to world news. I thought it's a broadcasting cooperation of which we are you know, aware of, may not agree with its policies and corporate charter with the royal monarch here and etc. But I thought, let's have a listen. Let me see what if there's propaganda, if it's you know, if it's American for a start. It's heavily you know, American narrated, and it's got American adverts in the advert section there. So when the caster came back on, I thought, well, you're going out to millions of people there, and Yes, it's a very confusing time at present, and we know that the news broadcasting corporations have got an agenda. They have got a narrative. They do echo and repeat. There's in Hungary, Magyar at the minute, our lasses peoples, Mandem are out because they don't like the fact that the newspapers can only print what the government allows them to print, and so they've gone out on the street to say this is 2020. And we're all grown up, big arse, and big enough to look after ourselves. We can handle the truth. We don't like the way that it's sense or shipping. Another ship
Yeah,
shaped there, ship shaped to man shape, where the sense or shipping part of the ship, of the guardianship and the partnership there in Magyar, they've gone out in man shape and they've said stuff that up. Yeah, we're not bothered. It's a bit like the Liverpudlian boycott of the was it the Sun, for their lies and their injustice there to do with the Hillsborough disaster and the disrespect to the lost souls, all of the lies. You see, again, this is why we're here and established the things that have gone off in history. Man easily forgets, and these establishments then think because we've forgotten, all is good, and they shouldn't be allowed to carry on, let alone the way that we investigate and find out they're institutionally X, Y, and Z, but yet we allow them to carry on. And they say we're better now, we're good. We're no longer addicted to doing that. We're better.
yeah.
It's
We
incredible.
made ourselves well as we were commanded to in the book.
The establishment has done nothing but put itself in a bad way. The banking establishment, the monarchy, the governance, the politicians, the Goves, the Cummingses, the Johnsons, the Starmars, and everybody else, because the church, Hollywood, everywhere is just basically simultaneously given conspiracy theorists more credence, and to turn it from a theory into an
Yeah,
actual slap you in the face, cold hard, sometimes with blood facts. So it's a time where there's a lot of cognizance, confusions, rejection, celebration, and a lot of stories. Yeah, and the bottom line is, from ship shape to man shape, you can do things and you can activate things and evoke things and use your powers and express and know and do that and become powerful and in the private to some extent, mostly, eventually, or you can follow blindly, not know anything, hope and pray, become part of a cult, and if you hang around with a fool, you'll become foolish and get hurt. But if you hang around with the wise, then you'll become wise and profit. So the wise and the knowing, and the foolish and the not knowing. And we've explained with the various cults and the Bible and the bibliothèque and not having evidences and believing somebody's utterances off to the chattel and the flock and keeping you. It's not funny what's happened, and we refuse to go with violence and repeat history, but we'd like you to just take a moment and just stop your busy lives and if you can just calm the chaos and ponder and meditate on a few points, you should see some clarity amongst some of this. Is where we're at, aren't we, Kev?
well, yeah, you have to. There's no point getting into an eight about any of it, is there? Ain't going to solve anything, but no, cool heads. It's nice to be in that position, though. I mean, I'm sure there's still some surprises to come around the corner for everybody. Spain's just gone back into lockdown in somewhere, isn't it? I heard today. I actually heard it yesterday, but somebody confirmed it today.
Well, yeah, we're not protected. If we've got a microbacterial biological agent in the form of a disease, virus, infection flying around, your eyes and your ears and everywhere's, we're not wearing gloves, we haven't got hazmat suits or anything. There's various risks to this infection getting into. So it's no wonder, is it? It's a calamity. From start to finish, an absolute calamity, a joke if man's life wasn't on the line in the future. In the face of all these mistakes and blunders and catchings outs and epic errors, malfeasances, and belligerent. You couldn't make it up. So I give up praying, and we've got a lot of knowledge, a lot of we can govern ourselves and judge for ourselves, especially in the light of what's been offered recently. Keep the politics to one side, just the bare science and the facts of it. We could say UV lights, like Matthew Sheffield said some weeks, months ago. The introduction of UV light would be an enhancement massively and very cheap to do because that kills a lot of the bacteria, alkalinity, also simple things that we often overlook. It's incredible, um, the state that we're in and being in a lockdown and the terms that they use, furlough and virus
Yeah,
being originally made a Roman word, virus, and it's crazy that we have all this technology in 2020, and here we are stumbling around, rushing to try and produce something that we're not right sure is, the allegations and the claims again are far and wild, aren't they?
being
What's coming out?
shafted at every turn, struggling up, and then trying to bleed you of everything that you think you've earned is actually worthless. Debt notes, promises,
Mm,
soul destroying, and the enormity of this shit show, excuse my French,
yeah.
is revealed. I say most of us are aware of it. It's beyond comprehension. A lot of it, how it's gone this far for this long. No wonder they want to keep a grip of it.
Those whom allow their thoughts to be externally influenced shall never know truth, nor shall they be free. Yes, regardless of our private biased views, one and thy must self-govern and think for yourself and question the legitimacy of any and all directive, information and orders. That's what we do because history shows us that massive, epic mistakes have been made, and even the handling of this outbreak. There is argumentation, all right, to say, like we said in the beginning, when Trump was saying this evil Chinese virus. Well, it turns out that somewhere like Belgium has taken some sewer samples in October 2019. Don't quote me on this. Use DuckDuck and do your research. It was a broadcast I heard going in and out of the horse midweek during the hotness of the sweatiness of the. Yeah, that was a bad week last week for me, and I know it was humid and hot for a lot of us. So I heard that yes, there was allegations and claims of such things. So if you search DuckDuck and have a look, you will find more answers to that and information on those lines of. Um,
Yes, interesting.
the way that they've made the errors and the mistakes and the backtracking and the equipment and admitting that more lives have been lost than should have in the old people's homes, and if there is some kind of simple, effective, generic, like Raymond Rife technology, these are the royal
Yeah,
colleges we know of: Schrauberger, Victor, Grebnikov, Schrauberger. Leave Tesla to one side, him alone could probably vibrate this illness and all illnesses. The jungle medicine, the ayahuascas and stuff like that, simple, back to the roots. That's why we're interested in the international side of things as well, because it's the simple Occam's razor side of things. So um, anger is going to trap man, arguing is going to hurt man, fear binds and bonds man, and when we're still and free the mind and meditate on certain things, it kind of lets the answers come. Things that come to you in a meditative state often, are easy to understand and quite true, non-logical ways, wisdom, utilization of your knowledge. To know is not to be wise, though. Many men know a great deal and are all the greater fools for it. Used to be me when I was younger. I'll put myself in there when I was a little bit more angrier than calmer. There is no fool so great a fool as knowing, or as a knowing fool. Somebody that knows everything. You can't know everything, and to know how to use knowledge is to behold wisdom simply, and bless up to all the Trustafarians that echo Bob Marley's lyrics, that don't let them fool you or even try to school you. Oh no, you've got a mind of your own, Rastafari and I.
Nice.
Yeah, it's we're talking about mental health. Anybody that's got issues with mental health, we'd like to say that we reckon that
Yeah,
not
when
99.
Tony's made a few comments in there, actually.
You're going to
So
say,
much
because
is,
all right then, because we are interested in sticking together, and if you've got a friend, okay, listen to me. If you've got a friend with a problem and you'd like to write down your friend's problem, and we're here to offer some light, and we are quite flexible on that. So it's not you, it's a friend. All right, we've all got a friend with an issue. So if you'd like to write down, if you'd know of a friend with an issue, and you can pass on the information, we'll keep it anonymous and light. But 99% of the battle is getting in the right state of mind for depression, and then you'll find that little 1% is not a bigger deal as what you thought it would be. Kev.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, it is. It's about breaking cycles. That's what it's really about. Because that's what it comes down to. You something, and you just fall into this cycle. You know it's coming. But that's what's worked for me anyway. So far, I have my moments, but yeah, to me, it's sort of breaking patterns. Because for me, I knew when the darkness was arriving. I knew. I'd sort of think, oh, X, Y, Z will happen later on. So I knew. But you still went along with it. You sort of, so it's about taking control of that. Get up, do something, distract yourself. That's what it's all about. Thinking about something else. And, but it's hard work. It took me a long time. Good 18 months, maybe a little bit more. Not in the darkest, when it was really bad, lasted that long. Been for a few years, I've had it, but probably better than I had been in a long time now. But as I say, it's just all about thought and, doing what we do with the law and legal and all the rest of it. That's taught me to be calm. Be calm, at all times if possible. Just be calm and consider everything that's going on. So it's just organising stuff. So not falling into, don't get in a 2 and 8. There's nothing to get in a 2 and 8 about. And break any cycles. To say, if you're suffering with depression, you will notice. You know when you're going to have a particularly sort of bad time. And for me, it was just breaking the cycle of what I used to do. Just, as I say, sort of distracting myself, get up, do something. Oh, I know that feeling. That's
Losing your livelihood, being dependent on the state, losing your income, and then having to deal with these forms and money and life adjustment, and sometimes there are external factors as well that others have had to bite the bullet, so to speak, or they've had their lives changed because of this recent economic political state, and now they've got adjustments to make. Nobody's a criminal. There are only civil issues. It's only credits and promises and charges that are afloat here. We're all using instruments that are effectively insolvent and bankrupt already. So it's a big time for us to be able to help others with the management of their which to them is a collapse of their whole reality, life, mental state, panic, fear, distress, uncertainty, reliance on the state. Some are so proud they don't ever want to be, going that way, because they're just, self-sufficient, self-governing, self-supporting, and, they, for the first time, maybe looking at desperate times. We've got a few months before the December time of pressure and commitment to the sons and daughters is upon us as well. mass meetings and an illness looming here, a financial uncertainty. I see Albert's on about on the good side, silver's on the rise. Nice one, Bert. Yeah, and I've just checked the room for comments and stuff. So yeah, it's an interesting time. But the depression side of it is, if you've been forced to shut your business, what did I see on the broadcasting network? I'm sorry to say it again, but after the announcement of all the people that follow Q are going to be labelled terrorists to the state, basically, it was this in Jerusalem, which is the capital city of Israel, which is highly funded and looked after. It has been up until now. The Palestine-Gaza Strip conflict of, so Jerusalem comes on the TV in the form of a shop owner saying, I don't want to open my shop. We don't know what we're doing. Nobody's give us any direction. We don't want to go outside because it's crazy. Where is the instruction? Where are the Jerusalem asking for instruction, orders, protection, safety and governance because they have nothing? He says, if I open my shop, it will be looted. He says, we are losing our livelihood and we are dying. And I thought, hang on. Not only is this disturbing for the immediate narrative, the context of what he's saying, but let's look at the subtext of his context. Jerusalem has been left with no orders and no defence and no support, and this is the capital city of Israel. And the BBC News are just mentioning it on the cuff. I'm like, this is something that raises an eyebrow. Yes.
Yeah.
And a man's on TV saying, if anyone's out there, can you help us because we're dying? And I went, wow, okay then.
Well, all the authorities have buggered off, have they?
I haven't got a clue what's happening there, but I was my ears pricked up. I thought, in light of what the world stage is doing, how we're all drawing our guns and insulting each other and accusing each other of the biodukes of hazards and Trump and Putin and China. China's had some bad reports coming out about its affairs in prisons and state and secrecy and stuff. That looks, so the stage is quite volatile at the minute as it is. In light of an invisible agent coming to get us as well. So Wendy there saying having faith, and yeah, we do need to. I see Menza's dropped in. Welcome to the random chat. Ship shape to man shape, Menza.
Certified sovereign evening, Peter.
This week's news, there was an officer mentioned. I'm going to pay respects to that incident there that was in the news. As I was getting in and out the horse again, I heard that the Old Bailey was hearing murder to manslaughter charges for an officer that got caught in some tow rope and was dragged by a car to his death, 40 miles an hour to a 1 mile length distance before they were, stopped and apprehended. And the poor officer that was with his colleague there obviously witnessed all of that. And the description at the court was respectful and dignified. But what a horrific event to actually have to, administrate. He'd been married about 8 weeks. And I just thought I was feeling sick to my stomach for the two 18-year-old, what do you call them there, defendants that was down from murder to manslaughter. And the officer tried to grab some part of a quad or a scooter or something, and he got caught with his foot in a tow rope as the other car that was previously towing the quad bike sped off, and the quad bike sped off, and the car took the officer with the foot and the rope down the road. And they were saying in the court case they didn't know, they had no idea, 18 years of age. And I just thought that was this week's news, with a secret barrister, the rape allegations, data rape, and such other things, world politics, Jerusalem, Israel, QAnon's being labelled as, and this is a pretty heavy week for news. I don't take my news lightly, and I don't go out my way to find it, but what I happen that's not all the news, that's not exclusive, that's just what I happen to come across. And I thought, wow, there's a lot happening all over, suspicious minds, I don't know, but some is really good and some is really awful, such as that. And if we didn't struggle for money and people didn't have to steal and we obeyed common law, that man would be alive now. They wouldn't be going down for manslaughter. If we accepted the credit union that we're in and got the truth about money out for, like this Nasara Jasara, but told everybody the truth about bankruptcy and insolvency and credits and charges and transfers and private banking essentially, then lives would be saved. Everybody would eat. You'd have a roof over your head, and the elite would disappear because there wouldn't be any anymore. Would the 1% would become mixed in with the rest? Equality and lives, ultimately being saved there, not the abolition of the 1%. But I just thought, yeah, if you've noticed a bit of a, with mental depression and health, when you turn on that box, it seems to be quite horrific and startling, even for minds like mine. I'm quite shocked and perturbed. So I don't know how you all are dealing with it across the realm. Floods in Wuhan after the outbreak initially
Yeah.
there, it's just like even that, I just thought, whoa, as if they haven't had enough to then get flooded out. It's hard times, shocking revelations. I don't know if you say biblical and the end of. I don't make. Yeah.
There's something there about the dam as well. It's substandard when they built it. Allegedly, it's not actually tied into the rock work as such. It's just like a bit of wood wedged across the river. I was reading a report the other day. So that's it, because if that was to give,
Yeah. Oh.
they're saying then that would be absolute catastrophe for all of Wuhan. It would be gone, won't be there at all. But yeah, there's something about the dam and obviously all this rain, etc., putting immense pressure on it. So there you go. That's my 2 pennies worth.
Yeah, you gotta build good quality
Can I
dams.
just say, Chippy Paul, thanks, mate. Thanks for the tidings. Appreciate it.
Yeah, get them in. We are going to get Claudio back for some adjustments on previous work done by others up to press on these international covenants. You'll have seen that the international covenant has taken effect with Hong Kong and Beijing and China, Asia generally, with England, United Kingdom, against these state security laws and the abolition of the recognition for human rights. When Trump sent the troops out to the latest state that's protesting and riots and so forth, he was warned by the United Nations Council to follow human rights. There was a thing to his foreign secretary, I believe, about the use of the troopers. We've got Federation rank and file officers when we say the force of law, and we explained in the other videos that we brought to you how the force and the rule and the policies are governed internationally. I just thought it was that as we go on the cusp of international protection covenants and the backup and support external from UK Constitution, Magna Carta and monarchy and crown, essentially separate from that, recognition, support and backup from 1948 onwards of modern law, that would be an excellent accolade for me to echo and say, do you see how useful that shit is? When you encroach on that, the whole world listens. And as we said in a couple of videos before, it came on the news for me to then reference and go, boom shanka. That's how powerful, and it is when it falls on the right ears and it's used in the right way. It is irrefutable. And if you're seen publicly to be infringing that and you can prove it, then whoever's infringing will be dealt with swiftly. So it's a quick way to the end goal. All right, so if we seem to get blockades and barriers put up and diversions, then we have a quick loophole, and it's being put together as we speak. Verbiage, instruments, types of ecclesia, deed polls, certified documents from state. Bear with, very exciting. And furthermore, there was a case that I put on the .com on Facebook, in fact, that was about a paedophile losing the human rights court challenge. The Supreme Court, that was, rules prosecutions based on information, and it was articulation where who is more important there, the sons and daughters' assets, children, victims, or the paedophile perpetrator, criminal, abuser, and who has the all have human rights, but it's just I know it's a disturbing topic, but I'm going to put the emphasis on it was just to show that how it works and the precedents of and the coverage. It was as we talked about human rights, then there was a case recently in the Supreme Court that the BBC covered that I noticed is good for us to use as conjecture for again the power, because we argue admiralty, maritime, ecclesia, trust, equity, but which one really is going to get you to where you're going to go, need to go, and effectively. It's not saying to ignore everything up to press, but bear with us. We're quite excited for the next few months.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, there is a lot going on. I say, Claudio's a little gift from the universe, and it's got some, great stuff all valid. So, we're going to utilise it. But I'm looking forward to it. It should be interesting. More discovery.
Well,
Or
we've
not,
got
as
to.
the case may be.
What we've got to ultimately remember is we only know what we can prove and what we know, and the rest is conjecture and hearsay. And there has been some dirty tricks played on man up to press, and there are some psychopathic, really nasty entities and souls out there. If there's love and peace and all of this light and justice and positivity that we as self-scholars, initiates and etc. have, and if there's good, there's evil, and there are some really scorned, evil, agendaful, types of twisted folk out there, souls and entities, and as much as there is a light force, there's a dark force, there's a dark side, as he puts it. Spielberg, Lucas, in the film set there, used the force, and you can go light and dark, but you have to just go on that's what we teach and educate with the law. The claimants, whoever makes the claim, has the obligation and duty of the burden of the proof, and if you can't provide the material facts of the matter and you've made the claim, then you're going to be, and we got to play the game clever and smart, not take the bait. And if anybody does make a claim, you can now calmly articulate your reply and say, okay, I conditionally accept your claim. Now furnish me with or you are my good fellow or lady, talking bullshit. I smell, and that's how it goes now. No vexation, no malice, and backup and proof. Much like the government and its counting. Can you count that again, please? That's what we say there. They can't even accurately manage that. So the false hope, yeah, it is, and leading the blind. In the land of the blind, the one-eyed man is king. Yes, but Q researching, and hey, the tape's come off. Look at that. You got a little bit of a Q researchers know and see all of what's going on and what's happening around the realm, and you can see and get educated by doing your own research. But there has been a lot of controversy, much like Brexit did over here, and drove and put families into different sections of, and madness, really, the political backlash. So this Q is not, nobody knows nothing, but for the American presidents who have retweeted, and now for the mainstream English news corporation to be getting hold of it, it's they're not gonna tell you the truth, are they? No, but then they're not going to I don't know, label everybody a terrorist. That would be wow. There's a lot of
whatever you do, you're a terrorist. That's what it's going to come down to.
We did bring
there's
it.
Can I just say there's some polite disagreement, as we're quite enjoying in the room, between Wendy and Mensa at the moment, and Q etc. But yes, quite enjoying that. I get the feeling Mensa might have a little bit more to say than he's actually saying.
Yeah, I've seen. Yeah, that's good. It's what it's all
But no, at
about.
least it's polite, you know, each to their own, it's cool. That's how it should be. Everybody on their own path. Nobody else's business really, is it? As long as they're not affecting you. It's all good. But no, it's just nice to see it's, you know, a lot of the time you see within a couple of comments, one or both will suddenly start slinging insults, you know, like you see in Facebook a lot.
Yeah.
They just go stupid. So it's quite nice to see it not going that way when people have different opinions and widely different opinions in this particular case.
Yeah, it's the not being able to prove anything. The patriots and the white hats and a lot of it does tie in. It does. I can't deny that there is a lot with the monarchy and the Vatican and the churches and alleged tags on. Tom Hanks coming out in the beginning saying allegedly, I'm sick and whatever. Turns out that it may be allegedly that he could have been possibly doing something else, and that might have been getting a tag and answering for that. When you first find out and hear the word adrenochrome, you don't know what you're going to be getting into, and then when you actually find out the full story of it, you actually start to want to retch and be sick. And when I said earlier there's some nasty, evil, horrible people in the world, how nasty and evil would you have to be? Allegedly there's pictures and videos of Mark Zuckerberg telling and saying what he finds adrenochrome use like, and others, codes and messages. So it's something what once you hear of, you think, now that's dark. That's darker than dark. That's darker than the darkest thing that in the darkest corner of the dark, dark box of the story of in the dark, dark house. There was a dark. Was it Funny Bones? Yeah. It's just incredible. And then you think, but given all the stories that you've heard about, I couldn't put it past them, and it sounds like something they would be into if you are a ritualistic follower of, and it just upsets you. And it's the anger there in itself. So yeah, the stories that we've seen with the monarchy, the royals, the families, the Hollywood, the banking, it's there is a lot to back it up. But the fact that nobody's come forward and said anything or proclaimed anything, or Trump, I'll mention something else. To further back it up, so I'm not pulling it apart, even though we're skeptics about this. Putin handing Trump a football at some talk and saying the power basically is in your hands, and Trump saying in front of everybody, and I believe this was real and not CGI, I will give this to my son who's an avid computer tech expert, and he will, and I'm like, it's a football. What's going on? What's inside that football there? And he did it in full public display, coded transfer. So Wendy, I'll back you up a little bit, and I'm backing up Mensa, and I'm on the fence. But what I'm saying is, we've done the research and we found out some dark stuff. And the message from Q is, if you do your research, you'll get. But yeah, we've said that all along. But that's not simply enough. They have resources, powers, secret dum-dum bases, mountain bases, technologies and resources, and so forth that we do not. So research is not simply enough to overthrow. We would need some backup here in the form of patriots and white hats and of Palladians, Planet Nibiru, Planet X. There's been lots of stories of external help coming through, but nothing ever seems to, unless we do it. So it's a 50-50. You don't want to be a bar humbug, but it's also, who are we as a race if we sit by and hope and pray that somebody sorts our shit out? It's time we do it ourselves.
You're talking about the phone company, who are we?
No, that's more politics.
What? Where did we go there? Oh, right, it's not what you said.
Yeah, we've kicked out Huawei, and it turns out that at present quite a lot of our data structure for the UK contains Huawei components, so now we've got to take that out and find some.
That's going to take 6 years.
It's hilarious, isn't it?
Sorry, 7 years. It'll be, yeah, they reckon it'll all be uninstalled by 2027, allegedly. So what's that all about? More of our money wasted.
It's incredible, but yes, it's confusing times, is what it is, and faith will get you through. Knowing, yeah, not panicking, and these ops that we see. Um, what we find out about trafficking in itself and the exposure there, how many children go missing in the year. It's disturbing, around the realm in a year. It's sickening. So they're going somewhere. Yeah, indeed they are. We're in a
No, we
cycle.
are the highest.
Go on.
You're right when she says we are the highest authority. That's, yeah, we say that all along. That's what's been stripped away from us. We are their power. So that's the problem. This is why they keep us all divided. I don't need to tell anybody here this. That's the whole reason there's left and right, Republican and Democrat and Antifa and BLM and everything. It's what it's all just keep us all apart because they're buggered if we all come together. But this has been going on for years, and half of these, even in the law, just on Facebook, just the law stuff and everybody, all the separate groups, it's always fighting and name calling, and it's ridiculous. And they all talk about, putting things right, and they can't even come together and go, okay, you're on that path, you're on that, okay, we disagree on things, but let's come together at least. It's division everywhere. It's ridiculous. It's never going to happen. There's got to be something major happens to bring everybody together, and then, and only then, will real change happen. But there's too many people walking around staring at their phones, especially the younger generation. They're walking right into it.
We got
Right into it. Sorry, mate.
we got to cover something called Chromatica that was brought to my attention. Lady Gaga,
Yeah.
what the hell is this? Well, if anybody's there going,
Yeah.
but you're a bit far out, you lot. Well, just to hammer home the hammer house of the blood music, sex magic that we talk about.
Holly blood.
That they Holly blood. Oh wow, and that's the first time I've heard that one. But yeah,
I just coined it.
they bring us Lady Gaga, who looks like she's taken over from Madonna, to be fair, in the form of the messages from the Black Magic Circle. And I couldn't believe it when somebody sent me, a picture to share on Facebook with the new album Chromatica, sat there with children, offspring, with blood bottles and blood round the mouth. After all that's going off in the political circuit and being said, she comes out in May, I think it was, 2020, and that was so that's March, April, May, a good 8 weeks after it all blew up, and she will be aware. Her studio, publicists, distributors, all will be aware, and they've called it Chromatica. I find that absolutely sickening to the core, you know.
Oh, it's like, is it Google? Is it Google? With the Drino and then the Chrome browser.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, and you got Elton John's on this album, Ariana Grande, Blackpink. It's just, I just can't, I can't get my head round the in your face, Chromatica, the word itself. After what we, been brought, it's just incredible. I just find it's they plausible deniability, such things as, again, here we go again. Oh, it's just art. It's just music. But is it really? I'll leave it there. But I just thought that was with your certain issues at hand. I just thought that was quite startling to find, but it didn't surprise me. I just thought it's another two fingers up to man from the backstage of the shadowed masters that control all.
Symbolism and shit everywhere, really, isn't it?
The House of Gaga has spoken to mankind, yeah, and I find it disturbing.
It is. What is you know, not right. Who's that other one that's caused uproar at the moment? Chrissy Teigen, is it? American. I don't know what she is. Apparently, she should take something like 30,000 tweets and stuff that said. One of them was something to do. She was at some sort of, I'm assuming, gymnastics place, and she said she made some weird tweet along the lines of, "I'm watching young girls do the splits. I think I'd have to go home and do it." Just outrageous. And then another thing, she made some sort of comment at the end in brackets with like tweaks nipple. Really sick stuff. She just deleted like 30,000. And then she went to, I just saw a photo of you ever heard the story of, was it John, I can't think of her name, little young girl, John Bonet, was it? Ramsey or something? American little girl, she used to do those beauty pageant things and she got murdered.
Alright, I loosely remember.
It's a big story anyway. Picture of her going to a party dressed as her. You know what I mean? But these tweets, you can look them up. They're disgusting. They're sick. I mean, blatantly sick. Crazy. Just, you know, what is wrong with people? I don't know.
And we're looking at something else you just reminded me of. They're looking at closing the loophole with the, was it Harry Dunn and by Anne Sakoulas, the diplomatic loophole that allowed her to return back. Yeah, I heard on the wireless, the poor mum, the bereaved mum, you know, the one that's lost a son there, saying that she hopes one day that Anne will take it upon herself to return of her own free volition as a caring mum to face up to what she's done, because she may be able to use intricate invisible laws to hide behind and loopholes, but there is a death and a common law loss, an equitable minus, and somebody needs to ease that. And under the laws that we use at this channel and at SPL's Pro, we wouldn't endure exactly that loss to go without, you know, an equity rulings, the trust laws themselves, losses, biblical laws, Mosaic, Abrahamic, okay? It demands that when you take, you give back, and when man does that, no intricate loophole would ever protect me, Kevin, a sovereign, an initiate, a self-scholar. You would all willingly, knowingly make up for that. None of us, I believe, would hide behind a cheap little loophole. It's like the tax loopholes when they buy the arts, you know, you buy an expensive antique, oh, it's tax exempt, you know. Oh, is it tax exempt? Yes. Oh, the arts are tax exempt, that's why we all buy them. Do you not know it's another rip-off, another fuck you to me? So Anne Sakoulas is in that. I'm sorry, but she's right, the mum. There should be no law that protects murderers or manslaughter cases. If it wasn't intentional and reckless, then you should pay somehow. So they were looking at, I don't know the outcome, but they were looking at closing that, America and England. I thought, and there you go again. You know, that's just it's just indicative of how out of date and archaic and old and out of touch and favourable to the aristocracy and the autocrats. You know, oh yeah, so we know how to. Don't worry about that. Daddy knows of man. It just makes you sick. So I just thought, yeah, a shout going out to the family of that officer. I forget the name, Hewlett or something, Hewitt, and that Anne Sakoulas and Harry Dunn family there, the Dunn family, for what Anne's done. It just shows you, doesn't it, that you can chirp as much as you want about rights and this, that, the other, but if they claim, so it's about time we learn to claim and to go, you know, with diplomatic immunity for the Club of Rome.
Go home, Club of Rome. Digital currency, will it technically be a guy it is already, because there's no value to anything. We're just using those bits of paper. But if you're going load anything in the bank or from them, it's just digits. That's all it is.
Credit.
So basically, what's backing it? This is what we're interested in. Otherwise, it's worth nothing. It is literally digits. That's what you'll be working for. Well, you basically are out, because there's nothing backing money. They're just promises. We use that money, we add to the national debt. It's just a promise to pay. It's all got to stop. It's disgusting.
Credits. We live in a credit union. Yeah, you get credits, you get tax credits, and you get a credit card. It's not a money card, you know. And you get your balances and your statements, your charges. But digital creation, as Professor Richard Werner's outlined, and we know already. And don't forget, you've got the fiat fiscal systems there as well. The FIA or something, is it the fiscal institution of something? And yeah, it's incredible the way that we've been hoodwinked into into this lie. To be fair, so yeah, it's interesting. I have done a post on some Ilian or something. Was it currency that others are asking us around? That looks much like anything else. Your Bitcoin, Ethereal network transformation.
Yeah, there's a few of them out there now, aren't there? Well, digital, I mean, if it goes cashless, that's going to change everything massively, in huge ways.
Yeah, we can control the credit. Yeah, we could start managing our own estates and affairs. You see, what this government, this nanny state's looking to do is manage everything and make your life easier. That's what it was here to do. It's here to make your life easier, not to any other reason, political agendas and Georgia Guidestones and etc. There. Oh, no, no, no. It's just simply, it wants to help and it likes to help. You know, and safeguard and protect and bring its ships in. But if we hadn't found out what we've found out here, you know, we might be for this city, crown, London, etc. But we found out some pretty startling, harrowing, you know, home truths, and your ships are damaging our clansmans and lands. So we have to now redress the notion of the acceptance to you know, ignorance of the law is no excuse, and it's allegedly by consent. So as we are self-governing and consent, you know, to our own, you know, clansmans, but not to foreign, you know, crowns and authorities, then we may have to look at this agreement again. Hey, new information has come to light.
Indeed it does.
We could manage estates, and we could manage our claims, and we could manage our wills, and we could manage, you know, that's all it takes there. The family in itself, back in the day when Madame Blavatsky, oh, I'm so happy about her, and the alignment with the Hermetica and the subsequent Crowley Lovecraft Hall, everything's gone into place and clicked in. I'm gonna have a long chat with Josh about all of this, but yes, what we've got under our belts now, and where we're going is we've found out, and we can prove beyond reasonable doubt what we say and claim and bring to you and have brought to you. We've made some adjustments, you know, much like Constantine not being the sole one to blame for his canonization of the New Testament. There are also Council of Hippo and various 300 and something all the way up to 400 AD canonizations in and around the places of, and some of the names that Santos has mentioned before, away from the Derren Brown and the Da Vinci Code type renditioning. So, you know, the ability that we've got there to correct and continuously improve. We found that man is not legal in its law, and we have a data self. That advert, then again, with its Dan and his data self, has done us more good than we could ever know, because that helps transfer in real life how the world works and what we're saying. Yeah.
They're telling you. They're telling you. They're giving you a bit of the puzzle right there to the masses, knowing that the majority won't get it.
Yeah. Money, credit, digital. You see, the only one true currency of man is trust. And we have our boundless amounts of energy. Some of these units, these shells that our consciousnesses are expressed through, I don't know if our consciousnesses are housed in it, but they'll go for about 100 years, and we've got, that's a lot, if you worked out, you could total up and tally up all the, things you've lifted weight-wise and all the steps you've done, you'd be absolutely bowled over. You couldn't make a machine. Man couldn't make a machine that could last 100 years. What do we have? Planned obsolescence. Good Lord, a company in itself to make what? You want it to last how long? Well, I'm gonna have to ring head office about this one. Yeah, he said 100 years, John. 100. We only make them last. What is it? A year? So it's incredible to think that even our best machines, they will wear and tear and go out. So the biological component of our estate that we are, managed and an avatar, so to speak, in this elusive reality, lasting 100 years, and all that energy you could express from it. That's the true amount there. What we would do with that, and we've somehow been hoodwinked into working for these corporations to make them money, make them profits, while they go out to our free earth, collect the resources, what's the word would you say there then? And just change it, process it, factory it, and make products, and then sell it, and then we buy it at a cost that's really ours anyway. We've helped them make that, working for somebody that you don't want to work for, and it's not divvied up fairly at all, is it? So countries without water and amenities, nobody will save Africa, because once Africa gets food and water, they're not going to go out and start buying iPads and signing up to wireless and this, that, the other, and buying Netflix. And sorry to name drop, but this is the bare reality of it all as we see it. So Africa can sit and starve. Apparently, it's just heartbreaking the way it all breaks down, and we tolerate it. And the fact we tolerate it without evoking simple, in your face, we've been misdirected from this direction on purpose, because it's simple and it's going to be universal, unified, much like the way the reality works. So 1948 onwards, and the hammering home from Claudio with the additional protection at law from persons and assumptions and presumptions is beautiful. It really is.
Indeed. It's all there.
The Bible scholars' research and the language research and the etymological and the factual, the monarchy, the history, the Doomsday Book from onwards, the papacy, and the current news. There is, and the barrister and the lords. We couldn't want for more in our collection to stand and articulately, confidently on a public stage say, does anybody want to have a look at this a minute? And there's a lot more as well to it, to prove history, covenants and conventions and Geneva and what we've, there's really a torrent for you to pick from. And there is a curve, there is a process, and there's no need for panic, and there's no need for fear. As these teachings will show you, not my teachings, but the teachings of these doctrines and other scholars that we've found, there's a lot of power in these words, there's a lot of power in your thoughts, and there's a lot of power in the invisible air that isn't invisible. It's just incredible, the reality, the suppression of the language, the science, the law, and the time period of 150 years, say since mid 1850 onwards, is catching up with us now. it's yeah, it really is, and the world stage is not as it is normally, Jim. It's life, Jim, but not as you know it.
Yeah. It's still upside down and backwards and forwards and sideways.
There's a Klingon on Mensa and Chippy Paul's starboard bow. That's what I'm saying. Ship shape to man shape, starboard bow. That's a boat talk as well, isn't it? Starships. Has anyone got any questions or anything to bring forward? We're not going to go forever, but if there's anything we could help with, we'd be honoured to. If there isn't, then we'll carry on chirping.
Yeah, there's a chat going on, amongst knows?
The next chapter that's not connected to the SPL's Sovereign Masters Guild, but is going to be brought via the .com and this channel is going to be incredible. If you are interested in like, I can't tell you now, but loosely, to give you a bit of a teaser, the consciousness and the unified field, the flux capacitor, the unified flux field of non-locality on an atomic and madness scale of that. When you get into these, if you like to, get into the quantum, holographic, pixelated realm that we're in, time linear, and you realize there's a connection between consciousness and matter. It can be proven, and consciousness can affect matter, and the quantum experiments do process this well and evidence it, and the plant and the light that are brought to you evidences this. So when you're a baby, or man, at the beginning of, and you just know hunger and pain, you don't know where it comes from, you're conscious, but you don't know you're aware, like somebody that's lost their memory. They know they are, but they don't know who they are. You get me? So there is a consciousness, but and it knows, but it doesn't know a lot. It's just there. And then obviously over time, the baby, or the baby will grow up and develop the consciousness. And we know about the brain waves in the states and all of that programming. We'll skip past that. But the consciousness and the actual matter and the connection, the unification of that, which this Blavatsky has brought out in 1888, and what I can apply from the in the beginning, it was in the Hermetic and what she's done, and what we've learned from the other scholarlies that have come along with the dabbling in the dark side, the Sith Lords, we'll call them, of the sex magic, Crowley, Lovecraft, Hall, and others, and what we've seen in the type of what did I say, Gaga there? The chromatic something. It's in your face. So when we come on and find this stuff, we think surely not, no. But then they do nothing but try to promote it in subversive ways, non-direct, and that in itself is a crime against man. More so, but I'm gonna elaborate and bring to you, with the brain, the consciousness, the depression, with Kevin, and you, and the Egyptians, and the Zoroaster, Ahura Master, Madame Blavatsky, all of the three satanic worshippers, Crow, Hawley, and Lovecraft, I believe they were anyway, it looks highly like they were involved in the dark magic of, and maybe Cthulhu, just for a little sprinkle of seamanship. And we're going to control it in a positive way, much like the original form of the swastika, in motion, turning right ascension meridian on. Nanu, self-initiates are going to take the quantum leap home. I'm telling you now. Exodus. It's going to be this year. It is the biggest year we've ever known. We did say at the beginning, it's going to be a big year. We did echo in February. It's a bit fast, isn't it? Didn't we say, Kev? So hold on, 21st of December 2020 is the review day from these words of mine.
See where we are then.
It is
not that far away.
No.
Certainly the year did take off though, didn't it? Then they soon put the brakes on that with COVID.
Corona.
There were some great rulings at the beginning of the year, some excellent information.
The lady in the car. Can you speak about the lady in the car and the 2 metre rule? That was hilarious, but it was also a sign of where we're at and how much help we actually need. That was just beautiful, but so heartbreaking as well at the same time, Kev.
It's sad, isn't it? Yes. So it's a video, basically. I think what's happened is the guy's driving down the road, there's a car in front of him, and the woman driving it's making all these hand signals to him, and he's behind. Anyway, they get to a set of lights on a dual carriageway, or 2 lanes anyway. He pulls up alongside her, she winds the window down, and she's losing the plot. What are you doing? He's going, what are you talking about? You're meant to be 2 metres away. He says, I'm in a car. She's having none of it. No, that doesn't matter. I've got a condition. And and all this. And I thought, well, if you've got a condition, shut your window, you idiot. But I mean, the mentality out there of what this 2 meters means. You're inside a car, and she's having to go to the bloke in a car that was behind. Absolutely unbelievable. These people. Then she threatens, I'm gonna get my phone and call the police. Call the police. Then this is outrageous. This is what this thing has done to the sheep out there. They are sold down the river. They have swallowed it hook, line and sinker. The fear, you can smell the fear. It's in the air. Brilliant.
It's a brilliant video. Yeah, it's just a sign of some people's, some man's consciousness travelling in a horsey, and getting blamed for being too close. Well, why are you leaning out your window and further endangering yourself to just carry on with your business? But no, instead of carrying on and mentalising the anger and the frustration and thinking and tutting and keeping that inside, she had to lean over and say her two penneth. And when we heard what that was, it was quite embarrassing for the human race, not just for her. Wow. Is it really that bad? Yes, it appears it is. Kevin, thank you for sharing that video. It made me smile, but it meant immediately then after I felt guilty and wanted to cry.
Well, yeah, it is funny, but it's also not funny because of the reality. You think there's so many people doing this. I saw another video I told you about. There's a woman, little alleyway, looks like you're coming out of a public park or something. And there's 2 of those low railings, which are basically wooden stakes with the scaffold pole through, only about 2 foot high. This path's about 6 foot wide, I suppose. And this woman's walking with crutches, and then all of a sudden, this guy's filming her, and she's stopped, and she's got the crutches spread out as far to each side of her at an angle as she possibly could. Starts screaming about him not being able to pass her because it would be less than the 2 meters, and just outrageous. It's the state they get into over it.
Yeah.
It really is. You could kill me by walking past. Oh my God, get a grip. But she's basically blocking it as well, purposefully made. If she just walked along normally using her crutches, he could have walked past, and I'm sure he would have gone as far left as he could. What's the problem? But no, she had to, and it's the intensity of the hate and the bile coming from these people, the belief, the indoctrination. The force is strong in this one. Mental. I despair. I'm glad I don't go out.
Can I just say to certified sovereigns asked a question? We're not giving no legal advice, but we can have a chat and talk about this. But he's put a comment there, a question. He means evoked, not involved. Article 61 of Magna Carta. What are you supposed to do afterwards? Because once you have involved, you couldn't possibly work as a slave, as it could be fraud. Well, once you understand the complexity, and this isn't me taking the piss, this is just a statement that I want to put out to you with love. Once you understand the complex, because it is complex, whoever designed this was a kind of a master of slavery. It wasn't done by accident, and it's a kind of I'm not defending it or bigging it up or promoting it, because I've lost as well. But it's kind of poetry in a way. When you understand energies of the universe and the way it works. So it's not fraud if it by their own rules. It's fraud by natural, divine, positive, biblical, Abrahamic, and so, well, not even that, because that involves manuscript, and I'm not happy with either, and I'd go with Hitchens on even the Old Testament and say, it still seems a bit of a confused, mad, crazy creator. I like the way he narrows it down on that one to, doesn't seem to be very stable and sturdy and such and such, and I'd still be a bit worried about him, to be fair, and Gervais has done a good spin on it, and I just think that, yeah, you've got these, laws, and you've got the rights there. So evoked couldn't work as a slave, as it could be fraud. Their rules, volunteering, equity won't, say. This is why I'm not such a massive legal equity advocate, because their rules, persons, all right, equity works with persons, and it doesn't, have all of the perfect, but it does have a lot in there. But volunteers, equity doesn't aid a volunteer. It doesn't aid though. It aids the vigilant, not those that slumbers on their rights. And so it's not perfect, but it's better than the common law, public, statutory. Um, so what we've come to learn, certified, is that you've got power, you've got abilities, and you can express, you can correct, you can hold to account, you can counterclaim, and you can get damages, and you can move very, very concisely. A commercial lien for your unalienable rights. And a commercial lien would be one of the final stages to say, are you really sure you think you'll know what you're doing? So, Article 61, I haven't used that. I don't know anybody that's used that. I hear what you're saying with lawful dissent, lawful obligation, and we would use that in a biblical, honourable, original trust way. Grantor, settlor, common law sheriff is an alternative. We've all got the obligation and common law duty of obligations, and we've got a duty to the family, but I can't back up Article 61 anywhere. I know that recently, within 2 years, somebody called Ollie of the Pinnock family, connected with David Robinson and his group, who's following movement, constitutional article based. Ollie was arrested, they alleged habeas corpus, and they put in the claims, and nobody listened, nobody backed anything up. I don't know who backs up, not even the barons will speak up. And with the monarchy, the establishment, in the form of this being signed under duress by King John at Runnymede, who by the king, the barons, and with the people. Well, if the king, the barons, or the people disappear or don't act up on their parts of the trust agreement, but it's a constructed agreement because they didn't make it like a contract. So construct agreement comes into trust form. If any one of those three parties is absconded, fails to do, the trust can be dissolved and no longer stands. So it's hard, in a way, in the light of the international human rights and the power and the shields of platinum, titanium, not steel, Batfink, but platinum, titanium upgrades. Yeah, we're going to turn Batfink into a modern day hard ass drone and modernise him, and that's what we're doing with the Magna Carta. We'll go international, we'll go trust and equity, we'll go damages, we'll go claims and counterclaims, and go commercial lien style, use and articulate the instruments there that are recognised, utilised, effective, and got case law to back them up, and good, references and results, rather than ambiguous, out of date, 800 years, archaic, non-backed up. And I'm saying this with love. I'm trying to help, because I don't know how Kev is going to come and say Magna Carta can be enforced. Kev. Yeah, I'm not setting you up, because just you can say what you want about it, but is it something you would use, or how would you use it? Can you? Yeah.
I wouldn't use it personally, but as I say, each to their own. It's just such a suspect document, really, in general, although we're still celebrating it. I've not seen it be that useful for anybody, personally. I understand the people standing under it when it was invoked in, was it 2001, was it, or 2003? But, still, we don't see it because they don't give a shit. the system in place has got nothing to do, and they don't care. I've not really seen it help anyone personally. I'm not, it's not for me. It's not the route. But there's still a lot of people that use it or believe in it, or
Yeah, it's
constitution.
It's constitutional based as well. To be fair, it involves persons and not man, and the way that it's written and the language and the orchestration of it. And then we've got the papal bull annulling Magna Carta from 1200s that we've covered. And when the papacy found out about what go on, do you honestly think the Vicar of Christ there at the time of Pope Urban, Pope Boniface, Pope Francis, I know quite a lot of the Pope's names and their times and periods, and they don't take no shit, and they like to run the show. So Queen rents her crown, as you know, and you know the setup of how it is. Back then, we had the beheading of an Archbishop of Well, and we was already in the bad books for certain things of which kings shouldn't have done. The Anglican Church being set up. Powers and crowns shifting all around the place. So when we look at the jurisdiction of the venue of the crown business places, they're not what would we say, genuine de jure. They are due process, and you get to the higher crown courts and we see that there are honourable processes and ways to get such justices in common law, because we've seen and discovered. So we use, unfortunately, their systems against them to win. But that takes an amazing amount of research and application, and it takes teamwork, family work, publications, and going in. It takes man going in and trying stuff like the Magna Carta and coming back out and saying, I got beat, I lost it, I've got a fine, I got imprisoned, I got to pay the tax, I've lost my car, my horse, whatever it is. And after 100 men have lost a million things, we say, stop, enough of the suicide, because that's effectively what we're doing, and we go to articulate and protect what will. How do these celebrities, why is it the rich and the elite don't lose anything? Why is it nobody went to jail for Northern Rock? How is it that Grenfell no one's gone in prison for? The Bank of BCCI and the scandals there, the Panama Papers, the foreign sitters offshore tax havens. I could go on for weeks, let me tell you. So to wrap it up, we looked at what they do. Rockefeller own nothing. To benefit from it is everything. And we had a little look. And when we started to apply due diligence application and look to de jure, we found out that it worked well and we had good results. We put down the heresy and we applied the application, and it's called a substance. But we and Kev stumbled across this the other day. And he went, this was Kev's words, he went, sub as in submarine, David, as in sub, as in below, as in a below stance. I went, oh, what you doing here? And he's like, so your substance over your form is your below stance over your form. I went, well, that's not, yeah, it is, that's exactly how it is, but that's not kind of how it's meant to read. It's meant to read like your substance, your top bollocks, your top shelf over your Chinese whispers, over your heresy, over your circumstantial, and so a submarine, below stance. That's why the legal equity and trust isn't all it's cracked up to be, because it still contains, such things as. So we've learned. Yeah, sub and mit. You said that. That's exactly. And I said sub would be below, and mit is like a mitten, a Germany type, Germanic type origin. They're mittens, and mitts. It's got quite a mitten, smitten, but submit, sub fist. So yeah, not as good a punch as what you could have probably given if you'd used a real punch, So if it was a battle, articulate, but it's not. It shouldn't be this way. As Lord, that's why we went to Lord Tom Bingham and his rule of law coverage and his books that echoed from the history and the teachings, preachings of Denning, and he was saying this is preposterous. It's a bag of crap. You spend a tenner to save a fiver. It's not accessible. Nobody understands it. It's down to chance. This needs to be sorted out. And that was a master of the roles, leaving at the peak of his career. Then we've got the secret bank. We've got lots of the, reasons to say. And Article 61 and such things as are not going to really be recognised and articulated, and a point of, anything. To be fair, it's relevant to some extent, but not as relevant as other things that would really make people sit up or run out of courtrooms, or even give you what you want, or move the venue, or discharge for fear of bringing their fellow licensed temple society bar members into disrepute, and also for the fact of the claims and the damages. So if you speak, the last thing they want is for you to know their secrets. When the magician performs his trick, everyone, he does that because nobody knows how he moves them, sleight of hands. So if we teach you and we see the trick and the sleight of hand, when he comes out again and tries it, we're going to know, aren't we? And that's simply the magic. So we remove the, I don't know, the speculation and the wondering, and we put down the actual technique. And once you've done it a few times, you can then say, "That'd be there a remedy, like, I have there a remedy, everybody." And that's how it goes. Not to take the mick, but it's something that it's simple, like the trust and the asset, the equitable asset, the equitable instrument. Let me just back up with, you got the trust there that protects the asset. We've shown you the simpler version first, but you've got the equitable instrument in the form of the papa, the currency, the instrument, the certificate, the birth certificate. You've got the signature known as the equitable asset. And if assets go in trust, then using a trust to discharge using an equitable asset sounds like a pretty simple maneuver, doesn't it? If you're the principal of the source of, and then you put in a trustee, and the trustee has that. So it's moving with the times and the technology, and from John Harris upwards, past the Constitution, through the Magna Carta, out into equity, over to the promised lands, exodus of the indentured slaves. When I saw that word in the biblical utterances, I went, what? And Jesus led the indentured slaves out from Egypt. I went, but we're in indentured trusts and we're slaves, and we're about to, Smithy, biblically take the slaves that are indentured from the United Kingdom back to the homelands of the promised lands of the times of things when, okay then. So it does, ring true. History is just repeating. We're in a loop, fam.
Yeah. Like they say, people who don't know their history are destined to repeat it.
Thank you to the beer guy, if you're still here, for the £5 super chat I just saw.
Yeah.
Oh, aye. Just seen it. Thank you, beer guy.
Yeah, I think he's still in.
Oh,
Yeah.
good. Good, good. You see, Wendy, you're going to enjoy. You really are. What's coming. I don't know how long you've been a studier of the Word. Jesus was the Word in flesh. Our studies and our revelations are going to be honourably and humbly brought to you. If you can find the time for Madam Blavatsky and get to the archives of, or on the .com or somewhere, and look at these, and go on YouTube and have a look. With the Hermetica and the other Gnosises, and Josh X and Claudio and Santos, Jordan Maxwell, and the new self scholars that we're going, ourselves put together, you're going to get very excited when you take away your own personal Jesus. Everyone panics because they're like, well, you can't do that. I've done all right with this Christianity, and I've got a deal, and it's going, I've got 5 more years, I reckon, and I'm in, I've signed up, and I've been doing this all my life. I'm not changing now. I'm comfortable with it. You're talking shit, Jeremy, to out me face. No. What's going on is there's been a deception, quite a cold one, and these books and scholars, and putting Jesus, and you are in the image of the Creator, and putting you in where the whole man shape of Jesus is going to be man, you, your image, your data self, your soul, your spirit, you, all of the bits that make up, your personality and who you are. So it's going to be, you're going to need to meditate on things, and when you do that, I'm sure you're going to see And if you don't, then we're going to supply copious amounts of DMT in fields all across the realm, and you will see initiates. Kevin,
Yeah,
are we in?
yeah. Can't recommend it highly enough.
Celestial tripping. No, that was a joke, but
Yeah, we won't be supplying any DMT to anybody.
dark
Other recreational drugs are available.
dark metal triangles I was thinking of to help express the trust. I don't know what you lot are thinking on there. Sorry, I should have explained my 3 letters. Dark metal triangles. No, it's going to be good. It really is. It's a time and a place, and done right, respectfully, honourably, intelligently, with the publications that we've found, and giving you time to digest them and give feedback and interpret and recompense, and the 8,000 years lineage of history from Zoroaster up to now. It's going to fit into place, lovely jubbly. The technology, the workings, the law, the conditional acceptances, the counterclaims, and the way that we've done stuff has affected a lot, and it's affected them positively. So you did a notice with I the other week, and we sent it off, and it was considered an injunction. So we're getting quite good at the words we use, and it's spiritual, it's political, it's lawful, it's financial, it's many things.
That's
So
funny, mate.
yeah, it's a lot of
That's
areas
funny.
of life, but yeah, we're getting good at and articulate with it. So the soulful part is the most important part. The silent language is the most powerful language, says Jabber Chops here. So when I found that out, it took a while to digest.
Yeah, that notice we did the other week for a friend of ours to have them respond like that. That's quite funny because they come along, as if they're the authority in the law, etc., etc. And you just give them a little notice, ask them a few questions, and they just don't know what to do with it. In this case, they're saying it wasn't an injunction. It did place a lot of obligations on them, but it certainly wasn't an injunction. It was an invitation to answer some questions, a conditional acceptance of their offer on the grounds that they responded to these lawfully and legislatively asked issues. And there was a little warning in there that there was a schedule of fees if they were to write back to us with nonsense, and that would be invoked, blah blah blah. But for them to go, we've had the injunction taken out of us. Just shows you they're ignorant. Yes, it's powerful, but there's only be an injunction if they don't want to answer it. So they've only put an injunction on themselves because they can't answer it. But it's, to see these people that claim this authority and are threatening or in a position where they could possibly take away your most precious of all possessions. Hope you'll know what I mean. As in your offspring. And so we just straighten things out gently with them. They don't want to, it's nothing vexatious. But it's funny how they suddenly back off and calm down. Or in this case, so far, just run away. Nothing. So, but they're still follow up. They must have a couple of weeks still, haven't they, on the 30 days to respond, I think. And if they don't, then we'll push it a bit further down the line with the ICO and trading standards and people like that.
Yeah, to answer certified sovereign in the private. About that question there, you do that privately is the way to get that done. Wendy Genesis agreed. The herbs are ours, herbalists.
Yeah.
Yes, Bosch. Yes, she knows. Estoppel, that's your. Simon's in the house. Had a chat with him earlier. Legendary. Thank you for that. We're going to get him on and expand. Before I forget, because I've forgot 3 times now, I keep pinning it. Antrim is a film I want to discuss before we
Yeah, I was
go
looking at that.
briefly. All right, Antrim. When I say Kev, what was it? The last bit. It's Antrim. The guy Taylor, Master of Lien. Allegedly, yeah, I didn't meet him. I heard a little bit of him, but we love you, Wendy, too. The Anunnaki. It's going to be Anu. You're going to get a new horizon very soon. Um, Good flow, good energy tonight.
Yeah,
It's busy, Kev.
fair
Busy,
play to everybody.
yeah.
Yeah, it's cracking on in there. No, it's nice to say there's been some differences of opinion, very
Yes, be a guy.
politely dealt with, etc. Which is, I say, it's just refreshing to see people being able to, I know it's not so bad here, but when you see it all going on in Facebook all the time, it's so pathetic and outrageous, pointless. It's just nice to see people just saying, like, this is what I think, that's what I think, I don't agree with you. But anyway, hope you're well. It's all good. Here we are together. That's what I like. That's how it should be. We're not taking anything away from anybody. Everybody's on their own path. Simple as that. We might not agree, but we certainly won't be arses about it.
No, it depends what time of the morning it is. If it's early on,
Mornings, whatever.
I might be
in the morning. Bad news.
confused for an ass of a early morning.
Yeah.
I do not like forcing myself.
Yeah, nothing before 11 o'clock for me.
I do not like forcing myself out of bed to go and get out there and do stuff and earn a living, or as it was in the past, go to a job and make somebody money that you don't really know or like and get them a profit and force food down your throat and get out there and get to work. And no, it's just not good. Generally get to work and think, I could just do with another hour, or why do I need the toilet now? What all this time and madness, just the craziness of life. It's hilarious. It's good that we are where we are though, and Wendy says we're on it. Come here and teach. We got videos, Wendy. If you'd like to get a donation to the trust somehow by a generous benefactor, we will come over physically, mano a mano.
Coming to America.
I don't know if they will allow us. I don't know. Hopefully, yes. We've never got any incarcerations or anything, so I should be clean. Allegedly, they did. This is coming from the country that used the Terrorism Act against the Foreign Secretary to have him thrown out of a meeting. So they do play dirty. But if we could come across, and there was some benefactor there, I'd like to come to Texas, ride a horse, shoot a gun. Let me think now. Throw myself at a cactus just for the fun of it, jackass style. I've got a bucket list for America, to be fair, yeah.
Yeah, we could be there a while.
Shout, yeah, I know, into the Grand Canyon and listen to Grand Canyon say, yeah, I know. Just for the fun of it. What, all through the Route 69. What, hello, yippee-ki-yay, what?
66.
No, it's 69 for me. It is 66, you are right, yeah. Rootin' tootin'. But thank you for the comments, everybody. We are going to wrap up and say yippee-ki-yay, good night, arrivederci, hasta mañana, ciao bello, and in Greek it is Kalinikta. Yeah.
Got calamari.
I nearly said Calimera. Calimari. Kalinikta, there we go. Mono.
Squid.
Campari. No, that's a drink.
Wasn't that either, yeah. Lambrini.
Bless you.
Thanks everybody for being in the room. Great to see you all. Hope you've all enjoyed it. And see you very soon. At least next Saturday.
She's in South Texas. I didn't know you was in Texas.
Yeah,
that was
she's in
just...
Texas, yeah. So even the weather's going to be brilliant.
I didn't...
And
Sorry, I feel like
Guns.
I've insulted you now, but I was just going for Southern State giddiness, like Bruce, what's his name now? Come on, Die Hard, Willis, and those kind of like yippee type guns of Navajo, and you're actually in Texas. Wow, amazing, hot. I like it hot. We like it hot there. We'll come and get some rednecks. We can't say that now because that's thingy, but we would get some rednecks out there, I dare say.
Everything being in Texas.
Yes, the caps. We need some of them hats. Wasn't it JR?
Right.
Wasn't it Dallas in Texas with the oil as well? Is this the programming I'm thinking of as
Houston
well?
and all that. I can't remember. Yeah, I thought that's all they were based around there, but no,
Oh,
that's
JR and the gang.
that's now Mexico.
What it isn't? Oh yeah, I suppose.
Yeah, Texas, South Texas.
Yeah. Bless. Nice one. We spread the knowledge. We spread the word. The word, made flesh is Jesus. Well, the word, in some ways, they're my spiritual sisters and brothers. Not religious, but they've tried to give you the code there again. Words, and when we look at words and the phonics and the sonics and then the cymatics of it, turns out, they weren't far wrong. It could be, you could do a lot of good with your words. You can do an incredible amount of harm with them. So, prayer, thoughts, positivity, inwardly, manifesting, outwardly attracting, that's going to be proven to you conclusively. Be a guy, you've just done another donation. Bless and thank you. You are very generous and we love you lots. Thank you very much. Are we going to say?
Good.
Yeah, good night. Creator bless, God bless, whatever it is you have some blessings.
Yeah, lovely to see you all. Speak to you soon. Much love to each and every one of you.
Yeah, we'll see you next week, or we'll be updating through the channel, through the community section, and if we've got anything we need to bring you, we will do. And bless up. Trust the Farians. Kev, you want to get in here?
Yeah. Peace. Blessings to you all. And see you soon.
Butter moon laters.